thinking about the worst countries in the world, and I've got 4.
Just 4.
Well, there are more, but we don't have time to do the whole geography.
Everything else except the United States. Every other country is the worst except the Okay.
So let me ask you, I've been thinking about it, but let me find out from you. If you had to pick 4 countries in the world that you, in your mind, are the worst countries ever to live in?
To live in? Well, I don't know about to live in. I definitely would put France on that list. Not all the people. I have met some nice French people, but it's only because they weren't French; they were Armenian. Yeah. And of course, if they're listeners or they're patrons, then they're the best human beings ever, and they basically redeemed their country. But
right. And if they're listening to our podcast, then they agree with you that France is the worst place to live.
That's probably true too. Yeah. It is the most ungovernable country of all time. I mean, we're not even talking now with their stupid yellow vest protests and black vest protests and all their endless protests, but also way, 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 way back since Marie Antoinette. And before that, they were ungovernable. I mean, even during the Middle Ages, they were just a horrible people to govern. I mean, like there's only 2 or maybe 3 French people I respect. Joan of Arc, Victor Hugo, and the third one's just in case, like the unnamed one that I can come up with whenever it suits me. They surrender too quickly, even though they've won a lot of wars. They have the worst PR campaign of all time,
right?
And they don't care about it. And they have this stupid way of eating too long and then whining about the food that was terrible and paying too much for too little food. And then they sit around and drink coffee for 5 hours and talk about what they're going to do on the weekend during working hours.
Yeah. I share those views with the politics, but I do want to add another category. Great harm has been done to the history of thought by French philosophy, starting with René Descartes, the man who put Descartes before Deshorse. Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here before we start talking philosophy.
No, but let me tell you some of the people. Let me tell you some of the French philosophers that I admire.
Nobody cares. We're talking about the worst countries ever. We'll do that another time. Talk about what's one of your least favorite countries?
Okay, the second one would be Turkey.
Turkey, that's my least favorite country.
Well, all right,
but it would be higher on my list.
I know. We agree on this one, so this will be a quick one. But since you know more about it, why don't
Turkey is just foul. It is foul.
Don't piss your pants now, okay? Stay calm, all right, please.
I might lose it on both ends of my pants. You know what Turkey's problem is? They need to be like Michael Phelps and just at least finish the race, or at least they admit they couldn't finish it. They tried. See, for those of you who do not know, in 1915, Turkey tried to kill off their Christian population, Greek, Assyrian, mainly Armenian, and they failed. Why? Because we're better than those losers. In fact, they're so hated, even though they did it for radical Islamic ideas. Other Muslims didn't like the Turks either. Yes, some Muslim groups did team up with the Turks to hunt down the Armenians. Some defended the Armenians to the last man and they did it because the Turks were so hated. And to this day, they still are a corrupt, dictatorial, sick regime.
And they're still trying to persecute Christians.
And they are okay. Please keep going. What's your least favorite country? Tell me more.
Well, I was gonna move on to North Korea, but I want to I want to change the batting order here. I'm actually going to put up England.
Really?
Yeah, England. That's one of and I'll tell you why. Just as the French have destroyed philosophy, the English have destroyed politics.
Because they're incompetent homosexuals.
Well, I mean, the fact that
is that what you're getting at?
British men are homosexual, but they manage to produce children every now and then. Nobody knows how.
Sounds very homophobic on your end.
Yeah, but apart from their sexual peccadillos, their lust for empire has, over the ages, I mean, going back, way back, way back, they have ruined the Irish people, they have ruined the Scots people, they have ruined the Welsh people,
all the Middle East, most of Africa,
Indian, Pakistan, India, Pakistan, the Middle East, to say nothing of the Middle East, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, all of these places. I mean, this one despotic monarchy, this sick monarchy, has destroyed so many nations in its history.
The only place that they didn't quite screw up was America, but that's because we
kicked their ass. we booted the hair out there twice. Yes.
And then we saved it 2 times.
And we'll do it again.
We saved it on 2 separate occasions.
Well, the only reason the only reason we save them is so we can invade them in the future. Right. If we really get pissed off at them, we can go and invade their ass again. Just go and do it again.
I mean, really, worse than North Korea, Venezuela, other Marxist places. Why would you say that UK is worse than those other Marxist places?
Well, it's a hard choice. It's a hard thing to say because we do share their heritage. We do share, and many of their philosophers, unlike the French, actually make sense. And we have based our Constitution and Bill of Rights on some of the more important British philosophers, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes, etc. There was one Frenchman, Rousseau. We don't talk about him, but no, we don't talk about him. But the reason I'm including this is because of the arrogance. There's a scene in Bridge on the River Kwai where. There's a scene in the Bridge of River Kwai. Alex Guinness, and he's been beaten to hell. He's a British officer, and he's a colonel in charge of British prisoners, and he's been subjugated by the Japanese Sesu Hayakawa, who's the Colonel Aido, and nothing can break this British officer. Nothing. They put him in an oven. They put him. Nothing. And finally, they drag him, and they beat him, and they beat him. They drag him in, and the Japanese colonel tries to give him a glass of brandy or scotch and a cigar. He says, "No, I don't want any." And Colonel Aido, he sums up the British in one line in the movie. He said, "I hate the British. I hate the British. You have pride, but you have no honor." and the colonel in the movie eventually commits suicide. So they screwed up the job.
British doing it,
Anyway, so moving on to what do we got left? We got we've got Venezuela, you do North Korea.
So many: North Korea, Venezuela, Iran, Saudi Arabia.
Do North Korea. Why you have a problem with North Korea?
Because they probably better than any other current country right now have embraced totalitarian Marxism better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, they really represent the absolute worst. I mean, at least secularly, how bad you can get without God. At least Iran. I would argue Iran is more free than North Korea.
I agree with you.
No, I mean, Iran is not a pretty place nowadays. It is not a pretty place.
No. If you're homosexual, you get thrown off of the roof.
I have met some Iranians. I mean, they do not, step out of line.
Yeah.
North Korea, though. You see, I've never met a North Korean, and I may never meet one, because that is the definition of an evil, oppressive regime that will shoot dissidents with anti-aircraft guns. That has, that is Marxism, secular materialist Marxism put into effect without any stops.
Well, fans and folks out there, this is sort of a follow-up to our one of our previous podcasts about, if you don't like the United States, try living someplace else, like some of our members of Congress don't seem to be comfortable in the United States. This is kind of a follow-up. I mean, really, when you consider what we have, yes, we have our problems. Yes, we're imperfect. Yes, we have challenges. Yes,
our history, too.
Yeah, right. And it was Winston Churchill has said that Democracy is not the best form of government, but certainly
better than all the others that have been tried.
It's way ahead of whatever's in second place. I think that's what he said. It's true.
Okay.
It's true. So anyway, thanks very much for listening in to this Alex and Mark's podcast. Remember to click subscribe or follow, and we really
like our Facebook page or become a patron.
And thank you for sending us patron money. We appreciate that. We'll be seeing you next time. Okay. Bye, Alex.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.